ready for another lesson?
Cool. All right, fellas, you ready to good
Yeah.
sports talk there?
I think so.
I was gonna say,
the
I was
monkey.
thinking that as well too. A certain part of me just thinks that sports will be ruined for me forever because I'm used to seeing people get punched in the head now. Like hockey will be like the only sport that I can watch after I've ruined my life from too much boxing and MMA.
There's nothing else. There's no other physical feat that matches the thrill.
I
of
do love
watching
Olympics.
people beat on each other.
I do love the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics is a totally different game. Like I can watch sports that I
Yeah.
traditionally don't even really follow in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But I guess you could argue that's most of the Olympics in general. They're non-American sports, but yeah, the Olympics, like anybody can. It's weird.
Yeah.
Become oddly patriotic when I watch the Olympics. Which in the other
Dude, it's the funniest phenomenon.
1,200 and something days in between those. It's not even close to that.
Less of a fuck.
But for those 2 weeks, man,
No,
I am.
I don't like
red,
who I
white, and
become.
blue patriot.
I don't like who I become. I feel like I don't want. I have to be left alone in case any members of any other countries are around me. Like, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's every 4 years. Otherwise,
Right.
Yeah.
That might be.
Now America is getting is LA getting the 2020?
Hey, let's see if we're going to be here.
Or is it 2032?
We'll see if we're still here at that time, brother.
Yeah.
Put a rain check on that one.
It is not looking good, fam.
Yeah.
But
But
is
is
not
it?
looking
Do you guys know? Is it 2028 or 2032?
It might be the next one.
It is the next one. Remember they did
Yeah.
the whole thing with Snoop on the beach in LA,
Oh,
and they were
that's
like,
right.
yeah. So
That's
that'll be
gonna
fun.
Fucking interesting.
Well, I wonder if the fires affected that at all.
Nah, bro. We don't have time. Can't we wait for the last? That'll be the last thing in Trump presidency. It's going to be like the 33 games. It'll be the Hitler Olympics again. It'll be fun.
I didn't even piece that together.
And they might just make it the first Hunger Games. I mean, by that time, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It could be Running Man.
my
Could just be
God.
gladiator fights at that point.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Genuinely.
Yeah, that'll be funny.
I don't know. I love the Olympics. I hope they're cool.
Oh yeah, man, for sure.
I don't know. I fucking hope we're here in 2028. We'll see.
My buddy the other day was like, he sent me yesterday when the whole, I don't know if that popped up in your feed, the asteroid that might hit us in like 2032 or whatever, and yesterday it
3%.
increased up to like 3%. And my dude was like, dude, it's going up. And I was like, I'm rooting for that asteroid. Like, fucking, I wish it was here sooner, bro. Like,
I said 2032 is a long time to be
Yeah,
living from now,
yeah,
bro.
bro, yeah, we'd be lucky to even worry about that asteroid.
Yeah, I have. So now this is essentially we're going off the rails here, but I guess there's only three of us, so it happens.
Yeah, I was
it'll
gonna
go
say.
quicker.
That asteroid,
the episode will go quicker too.
The size of that, is that capable of the actual destruction of the world?
No. It's
it's not going to bring on like the ice age per se, right?
No, it'll be a
'Cause obviously it's
long
gonna
winter, low food one, but no.
I mean, it'll fuck shit up. It
Yeah.
won't. It's not gonna
But
be.
it's not the ice age
mass
though, that
extinction.
that the
It won't be
dinosaurs
like
went
a right. It won't be like a mass extinction event.
Yeah.
But it would definitely fuck some shit up.
It would be
Well, that's kind of good, but also kind of unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah,
more like-
that's probably
But-
worse in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. Is that just me being very bleak and nihilism? You know what I mean? But like, I mean,
Well,
would you rather the asteroid hit than like just completely? You know what I mean?
Well,
Rebel and all types of things go up in the
that's actually
atmosphere.
a common misconception about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs is that it obviously was a huge impact. Definitely killed a lot of things in the vicinity of it. But it was the global like
climate change
winter
after.
and,
Oh, yeah,
and
for
climate
sure.
change
It's not
that
the
caused the
impact that
max.
destroys it. Yeah,
Right,
all
right,
the
right.
debris goes into the air, goes into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You can't
so
grow
like
things.
either way, like
Yeah.
that's the problem we're looking at, not necessarily
It
a
doesn't-
rock that's gonna
It doesn't
obliterate
even
all of this. But
doesn't even have to be a meteor for that. It was the like large volcano explosions can kind of do
Oh, that too.
as well too.
Absolutely.
What was it?
Yeah.
There's one in, I think it was like 1812 or something like that, like in like Indonesia, and like it like flattened like a whole island basically, and like
Sure.
put us into like it was called the year without sun basically, and like they've like charted back like what has spun out because of that. And it's been a whole bunch of different like obviously knock-on effects, but one of which was it because it was so cloudy, the Mary Shelley and like her husband decided to vacation in France, which is where they decided to hold a like contest, and she wrote Frankenstein.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
shit. That's awesome.
So yeah, if it
That's
wasn't
how that came
for
about. Yeah.
the volcano, we wouldn't have Frankenstein.
Hmm.
The more you
Well,
know.
Again, this is I think a TikTok I saw one time. There's one of those chain of events.
Well,
where it's
hang
like,
on, brother. That means it has to be real. We all
well,
know.
absolutely, we all know that.
Can't prove it's not.
But
not
50
anymore.
Shades of Grey was initially written as
Fan fiction of
Twilight fan fiction.
Yep.
And who is the author of Twilight? What's her
Stephanie
name?
Meyer.
Yeah, Stephanie Meyer. I think wrote Twilight
From a dream.
from a nightmares she was having after 9/11 or something like that. And so in some ways you could say that 9/11 is a reason we have 50 Shades of Grey or something along those lines.
There you go.
So there's that one too.
Yeah.
Butterfly effect.
To segue that into this, because we're a film podcast, have you all seen all of the Twilights?
Movies? Ooh, maybe at some
'Cause-
point. I think I have.
Okay. I haven't. I think I've only seen 2.
I see now. Two's the one.
Maybe 3. Maybe
2
3.
is the one I think I've only seen half of. So I've definitely seen 1 multiple times.
Sure.
2, I think I've only seen half of it. 3 I've seen. 4 I've seen. 5 I saw in theaters, I think. I think I saw 1 and 5 in theaters. Which have you got? The 5th one's funny as hell. Like, have you guys seen the 5th one?
No, I believe I've only seen the 2nd and the 3rd film.
All right, so like spoilers, I guess.
I think I've only seen the first
like,
two.
I don't know if you guys would even care, but there's a legit like great 30-minute kind of battle sequence in the 5th one that is a dream sequence. It's the fucking best. Like but it's played completely straight. So like the characters all fight or line up against each other, and the big vampire war is going to happen. You see this whole thing play out, and like there's losses on both sides. Dudes are getting their heads ripped off. Like characters that we know and love die, and it like at the very end of it, it's revealed that is a vision that one of the characters is having on the field of what could happen, and she just tells the other team like, yeah, if you do this, you will die. And then that like just subverts that whole battle sequence that you've just seen from happening at all. And that is it. It's the ballsiest thing I've ever seen in a fucking romance vampire movie. It's the best. Yeah, that Twilight's weird, man. I was thinking about this the other day, just reflecting on it.
Nothing like the high stakes dream payoff.
There's
right?
For
it to not be a payoff.
There's a new like genre fantasy book out now, and it's just reminding me of how like Twilight never ended. It just switched genres, basically.
Is that how we got Captain America: The Brave New World?
That's it. Even
Welcome, listeners.
segue.
Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your favorite hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie Captain America: Brave New World. I am joined today on a shorter rostered squadron. We are down Mr. Tyler Vidalis. He's out for what's a fake reason that they give on like injury reports. He's out with illness. He's down with illness or personal reasons. Is that the other one?
Flu-like symptoms.
Flu-like symptoms.
There it
Perfect.
is.
That's great. That's great. He's out with flu-like symptoms. Hopefully we'll be back next week. But of course, we do have joining us today is MCU superfan Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up? That's me, MCU superfan Nathaniel Gingrich.
Thanks for joining us, man. Are you excited to be here?
So pumped. So pumped.
How many times have you seen this movie, Nathaniel?
37. Haven't stopped.
Wow, quite the super fan.
Superist.
Super.
You know,
nice.
they invited me to the special event ahead of time. Obviously, I went to that. Then I went to the premiere. Then I went to the local premiere.
Right.
And then I've bought a ticket for every movie. I don't stay for the whole movie. I actually just, when the next one starts, I switch theaters until the end of the day and they stop showing movies. And then that's when I actually finally get to see the full movie. So
Got it.
It's very inconvenient and I don't have any money left. But you know,
Well,
it's
A-List has
all
got you covered
Marvel.
for 4 movies.
Yeah, so
a
they'll
week
let,
now,
they'll let me
so-
do it 4 movies a week. That's 33 other ones that the 2 of the premiere I got invited to, so that's
Right.
31 other ones that I've bought out of pocket. So hopefully I can make that tax deductible. I think that's how that works. You just tell people that it's tax deductible, right? And then they just take it off your taxes and they give it back to you. Anyways, who else is in the triumvirate this week?
Also joining us today, it's Big Brain BlakeHolder.
He's got a
There
big
it is. What up, what up?
brain.
Big Brain.
Check out the big brain on Blake.
There it is. Yeah, that was I guess we'll just have to get into it. Yeah, this movie was just fucking strange, man. So,
So do we want to get into it? I think our little, like, I don't know where I'm gonna cut the intro of that pre-pod into post or to regular pod. So like we've got enough like intro banter. I'm sure I'll leave enough in there. We can roll it into this review.
Go on.
Before let me
Bit of sizzle.
you got some?
No, go ahead.
Did you have a bit of sizzle?
No, is that what we're calling this episode though? Is what I was asking. Basically.
No, we have Tyler's review.
Oh,
so
okay.
typically if it's only a bit of sizzle usually if someone didn't catch a movie and we don't have their review. So this will right now go up as a full episode.
But we do need to insult him, right? Wasn't that the agreement when one
Well,
of us
yeah,
misses?
yeah. That is the rule. If you're not in the room,
We talk shit about you.
You can, yeah, and you can talk. You can talk shit about that person.
That's
My old boss, actually, the term he gave me or phrase he gave me was, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Oh.
Which I was like, well, that's a good line.
And did you say, have you seen The Menu starring Ralph Fiennes and Nicholas Hoult?
Yeah, that was what I asked him. He had not seen it.
Wow. And Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, exactly. However, I don't have much shit to talk about Tyler this week. Most weeks I would say something about how he uses Android, how he's a Packers fan, but you know, he's been very gracious as a Super Bowl host for me a couple weeks ago. Before that, you know, I was at his house a couple weeks before that. So like, you know, I don't have a lot of shit to talk about Ty right now. You know, like I've said all my grievances with him that he's an Android user and a Packers fan, and
He's too handsome.
those are
that's
my
issue.
a problem too.
Too handsome, too good of a friend.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Just
too great of a human being.
Yeah.
We can't have that. We can't have positivity.
It does make me feel bad about myself.
Too good of a role model.
We need to collectively bring everybody down to the lowest level possible.
Right now, in particular,
specifically for our own self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right. I just got to bring everybody else down around me.
So,
absolutely.
Well, that's been shit talking Tyler for this week.
Cool.
Get that guy to slow down.
Absolutely, I'm with you. Okay. Well, now that that's out of the way, thank God.
Yeah, moving on.
Nathaniel, do you want to introduce listeners to our main review segment here at Back Row Banter?
Hey, introducers and listeners. let me introduce you to the Back Row Banter review segment. It's split into 2 sections. Do you really need it for this movie? Have any of you even seen this? Do any of you even like this? Do we like this? We'll find out on our review segment, which is broken into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. Yeah, you can figure it out. We'll go around the IMDb summary, talk to each other on the trio this weekend, the triumvirate. See if we'd recommend the movie. It's got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And then go over any big spoiler time, any big spoilers during spoiler time. And yeah, we'll rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we watched on the podcast ranked. I don't know, guys. This movie just makes me feel like all of that was just bullshit, and we can just talk about it however we want. But I suppose we can follow the format.
We're gonna follow the format. You know, we have a format that is familiar, that works. You know, like let's not get crazy.
Okay, I just want you to let you know we're extending this movie more courtesy than it extended me in terms of having a format or any sort of structure whatsoever.
Fair enough.
So I just want that documented.
Okay, thank you. That's documented. This is Captain America: Brave New World. It's a new movie. It's rated PG-13 and it has a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes and an IMDb rating of 6.1 out of 10. I'll be honest, I expected that to be much lower.
Inexcusable.
Yeah. Directed by Julius Ona, who, let's see, have I seen anything?
I believe they've made one other movie.
That seems to be the case. The Cloverfield Paradox,
which is dog shit.
I've not heard good things. He's got
I actually know somebody who likes that movie, and you all know this gentleman as well. But for the sake of his own identity, I won't reveal his name.
Yeah, that man.
Right, I'm assuming I know who it is.
Yeah. And he deserves all the slander for enjoying that movie.
I haven't seen that movie, so I can't talk shit to him. But that's hilarious.
That movie's broken. Like it doesn't make sense. There's no. Stop. What's the Michael Jordan bit? Stop it. Get some help.
But yeah, go ahead, Ad. You want to introduce
Captain America, Brave New World.
Captain America,
not Steve Rogers.
This might be the most credits I've seen under the writing credits of any movie we have on this list. Let's listen to this really quick. Screenplay by Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, Dalen Musan, Julius Ona, Peter Glanz, and it's a story by Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, and Dalen Musan. And then, of course, it's got the credits, the creators of Captain America, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. I guess it's not that long, but 5 writers on a screenplay.
Ain't great.
Not great. Not what you want to see, personally. The cast includes Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, and Shira Haas. And we'll go Carl Lumbly. We got also Tim Blake Nelson and Giancarlo Esposito. I feel like after the 4th person, I expected that cast to be shorter, but there's actually more names that
It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they are paying people still somehow. But yeah, that is your main cast. Outside of that, it's kind of whatever. Let's see. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, finds himself in the middle of an international incident and must discover the motive behind a nefarious global plan. Not a bad summary. In fact, I would say that IMDb summary is better than this movie in terms of its what it sets out to do and what it accomplishes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the film sound somewhat compelling and interesting.
Correct. Yes. Now, is this, Blake, a compelling or interesting movie? Thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump into it first. So now, to be fair, I did go into this film jaded, and I tried not to, right? But I am a human, so I was aware of my bias, and I try to remove that bias as much as I can. That being said, I don't like this movie, and I never wanted to see it in the first place. So maybe that's why it's easier for me to kind of rip into it, per se. But it's just, I don't know. This movie feels like it just pulled from so many other Marvel movies. For starters, I didn't think well, never mind. That may be spoilers. So, um, all in all, I don't care for this movie, right? I think I can add it into the bucket that I feel like I've often been adding these post in game Marvel movies into the infinite list of superhero movies that I will never watch again because there's just so many more I can pick from that are good. Right, is really the easiest way to say that. Anthony Mackie it's interesting. Obviously, he kind of takes on a different role, and there are some redeeming qualities where you see him
Anthony,
challenging that regard of not being a quote unquote superhero like with no like powers per se, right? There's also kind of some racial undertones in that as well that they kind of hit at as well. So there are some things they did try to make grounded, right? But yeah, man, this is just I think I'm cool on Marvel movies, fellas. I'm not gonna lie. So I think that's kind of what it unfortunately it's come down to, man. But they've had 20 fucking years to burn it. So like it's not like I'm in the wrong. I just can't be
No.
fed something continuously forever. But then we'll jump into spoilers later because this started pulling from a bunch of films I didn't expect it to pull from. Harrison Ford is fucking 89 years old. It's just like I just don't understand what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Blake, really quick, let me ask you a question. You didn't watch Captain and Winter Soldier, did you? Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No, I did not. No.
Okay, so did you know, like, coming into this, that, like, obviously he gets handed the shield at the end of Infinity War,
Right.
but did you know, like, anything about the backstory behind, like, him kind of taking up that mantle a little bit more? And because, like,
No, not really.
were you what were you confused by here? Because I'm sure there's a lot to be like. I'm lucky that I watched that show.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't, I'd be kind of confused. The Isaiah Bradley character, I don't think is brought up before this movie, and they give like a quick line of his backstory, but like that's a whole plot line from that show that if you didn't watch, you just don't understand who that character is, and they don't really give you enough time to like. I mean, they maybe give you enough time to like build a relationship a little bit with him, but like really his backstory and the reason you should care about him because he's a cool character, but that's all because of that show and not even anything to do with any movie. Like, so where was your level with that, having not seen Captain or Falcon and Winter Soldier, the show, and like coming into this movie?
Sure. Yeah. So as you said, I see him get the shield at the end of is that Endgame, right? So that's pretty much the
Endgame.
knowledge I have like of this, right? Where you understand that I don't know if I want to say spoiler or but like you understand that Captain America, Steve Rogers, right, is effectively not going to be the Steve Rogers we know anymore due to XYZ reasons, right? Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. So Anthony Mackie, who's I can't think of his actual in-universe character name, is taking up the role previously known as Falcon to go ahead and be the new Captain America, obviously without the super serum. But yeah, that's really all I knew. Everything else was just like brief info dumps that they were able to give in the movie, and like that's very minimal at that. That being said, it's kind of hard for me to blame the movie for that because I could take the time and the due diligence to do some research on that and or watch the show. But yeah, I'm simply not interested in doing that. So yeah, it was a little difficult to follow in that regard. But I would say that's probably one of my least frustrations with this movie, right? Is how they went about that introduction to those people who didn't see what is that Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, which I don't even know when that is. 2000, what? Probably 2021.
21 or 22, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And is there just one season of that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
it did not get stellar reviews when it came out.
I could imagine, right? So yeah, that's the kind of the least concern I had about this. But yeah, that's That's a great question. But those are my brief thoughts. Overall, I'm not big on the movie. I don't think I would recommend it to anybody. We'll pass it over. I guess I'll go back to Adam. What are your thoughts?
I mean, echoing a lot of what you said, we collectively, I think the four of us have been pretty much out on MCU for a while now. And I think I mean, if you look at the numbers too, like sales wise, like generally, I think most people are out on MCU. Like, I think
Yeah.
other than, events like Deadpool and Wolverine and isolated movies like that just draw more intrigue for, reasons outside of just it being a Marvel film, those will still perform well. And I think Avengers, the Doomsday one, whatever that one's going to be called, maybe it just is Avengers Doomsday, but when they bring back RDJ as Doctor Doom, like that'll do well. But I think by and large, like no one's caring about these movies, and they're not really giving people a reason to. And there's a lot of issues that I think this movie is kind of a very prime example of, like, just not a lot there. Like my thoughts about this movie is like there's just no sauce. Like there's nothing like there's nothing here that is attracting me to be like, oh, I like these characters. I like what I'm watching.
Yeah.
I am invested. Like there's just nothing. It's lacking any kind of personality, anything unique about it, nothing stands out to me. It's very bland score, it's very bland directing, it's very, bland everything, to be honest. Like the fight choreography, there's maybe a couple cool things that they did, but like for the most part, it's legitimately nothing that you have not seen before. And it's just there's nothing here that's like new or exciting other than, hey, look, they brought in Harrison Ford to be recasted for the third time for the same character. It's like that is nuts.
Recast for the third time for the same character.
In the Ross character he plays is a different actor in Incredible Hulk, and then they recast him for the middle of phase whatever it is.
William Hurt.
Are you sure it's the same? I'm almost positive this is the third time they've recast that character.
That's William Hurt.
Okay.
I don't. I think he has the mustache in between, or he doesn't have it. But yeah, it's definitely William Hurt.
I'm gonna, because I'm almost positive this is the third time they've recast that character, because he's a different actor in Incredible Hulk than he is in the other MCU movies.
Don't think so.
William Hurt is Thunderbolt Ross in the original Incredible Hulk.
He doesn't come back until Civil War.
Okay, you are right. He is back as the same. Okay, my mistake then. I thought they recasted him. He looks different at least. Anyway,
regardless, he is recasted.
He's recasted.
Yeah, William Hurt has since passed, and so they recast him as Harrison Ford.
Got it. Okay, I'll take that criticism back then. I'll walk that one back. That doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Just not there's just not much here for me, or really for many people. I don't think this movie has a really big selling point. The plot is not anything special. In fact, I feel like I've seen this plot in the MCU before. The whole maybe not, explicitly, but like general themes of it. I feel like this has just been done before, and there's nothing here that I'm really writing home about. It's the most mid movie I've ever seen. I mean, is it bad?
Yes.
I don't know.
Actively.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think it's bad.
I mean, it's pretty bad, I guess. I don't know. But it's not like I wouldn't want to say it's an awful movie. It's just like I don't know.
It's not
it's not terrible.
To Adam's point, it's not fucking Borderlands.
Right, exactly.
Like it's not it that. But
it's, to me, it's similar to Borderlands, and like I can enjoy bad movies if there's something fun to watch in there. Like the Godzilla movies, for example, aren't always good movies, but they're fun to watch. There's some kind of attraction there. And there's other examples of that. But this is like Borderlands, where like it's just a bad movie, and there really isn't anything that I can take away from it. Like it's kind of that level.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is the MCU hitting Justice League level. The 2017
2016
Justice League. Yeah. There's scenes that look like it. Like it looks like straight up that it is out of that movie. The CGI is so bad at certain
It's
parts.
really bad. Dude.
The volume or whatever it is that they're doing is just atrocious. And this is a movie that's been reshot, I think 3 or 4 times. It was supposed to come out a year ago. The writer's strike didn't help. I know they've gone through 4 or 5 directors. Like it's all of that aside, right? We know it's had troubled stuff. I don't know how you can release this movie and call it good. And like, especially, I think it's insulting to like Anthony Mackie and his kind of role and the role you want him to be, to kind of perform as like this Black Captain America, and like what all that would like again entail, and kind of like what you've built this up to be in society, quote unquote. But I mean, releasing this as a movie is pretty inexcusable in my opinion. It's a plot that does not make sense if you think about it for longer than 5 seconds. It looks like shit. And by plot that doesn't make sense, I mean like literally from like scene to scene. It's like, well, why? What is the motivation of this character? Why are they doing this now? And didn't we just learn information from the past scene that makes anything that they're doing right now completely null and void? Or like they're just ignoring that other things happen. So many incidents happen in this movie just because the plot, or just because they have to happen. Otherwise, nothing in this movie would happen. As in, like, it is just literally, okay, well, we've finished this conversation. Time for the next thing in the movie to occur, because not because of any sort of lead into it, why, there, because, therefore, but no, just because that's what happens next. Anthony Mackie, innocent. It's not his fault.
Yes,
at
100%.
all.
He's actually really not that bad in this movie.
No,
for what he's given.
For what he's given, he's great. You know, he's and he's so charismatic and so many other things. Like again, in Endgame, like probably one of the most famous lines in the Marvel universe now is the "on your left" and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's got such great chemistry with Sebastian Stan, with Chris Evans in previous movies. You know, it's Anthony Mackie innocent. I think most of the cast innocent, to be honest with you. Harrison Ford is phoning it in, but he's 85, and I don't really give a fuck at this point. He's Harrison Ford. The villain, I would say, I know that actor. I love that actor. He can do so much better. I feel like there has to be something else going on there. But I mean, just overall, from a Marvel standpoint, like this is just fucking inexcusable in a lot of ways, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more in spoilers, I suppose, but not a recommend. And I was going in with relatively low expectations, maybe hoping against hope, but yeah. I liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. I think so many of the points of that show are retreaded in this, where it's just like, well, why the fuck didn't you just make a movie then? All of the interesting points in this movie about like, hey, what does it mean to be a superhero without the super soldier serum? What does it mean to be a Black Captain America? What does it mean to be black in today's society, and like what that all brings with it? All of that is in Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, and they just kind of rehash it more in shorter and less faithfully, less with less amount of time in this than they do. All the interesting parts of this movie, I feel like, are better done in that show. So it's
I agree.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I didn't have the background of that show, of course.
Right. Well,
so
and
then
again,
exploring that topic in this movie, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
and that's where Carl Lumley comes from. But like, even the whole, and like, spoilers, guys. Let's just get over this. Not a recommend. We're all not a recommend. Spoilers,
well,
for sure.
Hang on. Let's do ties or non-spoilers really quick, and then let's get into spoilers.
Hold this thought right here, though.
Yeah. Okay. We have Tyler's reviews and rankings. His non-spoiler review is: I'm not recommending this film because it was super mid. It's not going to save the Marvel universe or get anyone that is off that wagon back on it. Fortunately, though, it's not the worst one either. That is Tyler's non-spoiler thoughts. I'm also not recommend. Obviously, we're all not recommends.
That belongs to Thor 2: The Dark World.
I would rather watch
Um,
Thor than this.
I would
rather
also
watch.
rather watch.
I would rather watch
I would
Thor,
actually-
Thor:
I
The
would
Dark
also-
Thor than this. Like I'm at that point. Like this movie
There-
opens with
yeah.
fucking Harrison Ford being like, Betty Ross, my daughter. And it's like, yeah, because we haven't fucking heard from her in 15 years.
Sure.
But also, like, we're just that dumb at this point. Like,
Yeah.
All
right.
to
Spoilers.
finish my
By the way, if you have not seen the movie, spoilers.
To finish my thought from earlier, the whole Sebastian Stan thing, who's like shows up Bucky Barnes and he's like, "You're good enough to be Captain America. You should be Captain
Mhm.
America." That's again all part of that. But like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, most of that comes from Don Cheadle, who's actually the other black character in the universe, and it
which
hits
makes sense.
way better. Like it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Coming from there. Like, yes, I like the relationship between Bucky and Cap, but like for if you're gonna go down that route, then we've already done that and we've already done it better. Like,
Yeah.
and even then, like it would have been cool to have Don Cheadle show up in here as well too, again as the other black
It would've been
character.
Yeah, right,
like,
right.
in
right.
the Marvel
basically
universe, right?
The Iron Man
Right,
equivalent, right,
like-
of what Anthony
American
Mackie would have
Patriot, isn't that what his
for-
character's called?
Well, and then why the fuck isn't he around the president? I'm sorry, like he probably should be. Like,
Not wrong.
I don't know. Like, all right, and this is the part that like just like straight up took me out the movie from like the dot. I don't know how it works in the MCU, but I'm pretty sure Japan's not allowed to have an army or a navy because we blew it up and then told them they couldn't. And like aren't they controlled like by like the United Nations? Like they can't have a standing army. That was kind of the whole thing after World War II.
I think
Like,
you're right. I think them in Germany
they
are
can
only
only
allowed to
have like a
standing
security
armies.
force that's
Right.
like by the, like they don't like
They can only defend themselves. They can't do any military
Right, and
actions
it's-
that
and
would
it-
suggest they can
yeah.
go outside their country.
And
Basically,
then, like in this one, they're just like, "Well, the U.S. is attacking us. Scramble the jets," kind of thing. It's like,
yeah.
no, they're our boys. Like, I don't know. Like, this movie's just broken on every fucking level, man. Like, I don't know. It fully off. I want to see the Thunderbolts because it seems pretty cool and it seems fun. But like.
I would actually. I kind of want to watch that one. I don't know if Blake will.
But like
No, probably won't.
This movie.
It's got Florence Pugh though.
Yeah, that's true, fellas. I think I'm
Tim-
just that far
That's fine.
removed. And then even in terms of just, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nathaniel.
No, you're fine. I'm fucking bouncing around at this point. I love Tim
Yeah,
Blake.
yeah.
I love Tim Blake Nelson. I like the idea of the leader. Like that seems cool. I don't like if you think about the plot for 5 seconds. Like as soon as Harrison Ford finds out that he's behind it, like of course he's going to be fucking behind it. And then why does he do anything else other than say, "Oh hey, I have this super genius that I've been keeping in a prison for the last 16 years. You should really go take care of that because he's fucking this whole thing up now." But
Yeah.
no, we don't do that because plot, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna be off the walls to Daniel's point when they were just instantly going back in the timeline to like the Hulk 2008 movie, which like
Yeah.
I don't think we have ever heard anything about the film since that shit
No.
went to VOD
It was
in like
100
2009.
It was 100% a movie. Like this movie is there like to tie up some loose ends.
Yeah, like when they were bringing up those characters and to your point, Ross's daughter and how that went
Who's
through
on set for 30 seconds max.
Yeah.
she's a phone
sure.
call and then shows up at the very end of the movie. Who like
Yeah.
was filmed like apparently on a Snapchat filter in a closet. 6,000 miles away from the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
Because-
Yeah. So just seeing that was like absurd. I'm like, wow, that's what they're tying into. One, I haven't seen that movie in so long. Two, nothing else from that movie's ever really mentioned much in this universe.
Yeah.
So it's one you like kind of forget about, and as quiet as kept, it's the second film in the fucking universe. And arguably, like, I personally don't think it's that bad of a Hulk film. Granted, I need
It's
to go
really
back and
not.
watch that now,
I don't
right, to
from what I
confirm those
remember,
thoughts.
I don't
But
think it's
yeah,
that bad.
to Adam's point, from what I remember, I didn't think it was that bad. It's not really a cartoony Hulk movie, for lack of a better term. But
And
yeah,
I'll tell you
nonetheless,
what,
they're bringing
I'd
that.
rather watch that movie than this one.
Oh, facts, 100%. So
Yeah.
they bring that up in Ross's daughter. I totally forgot. I can't even think of his name. This movie's just not important. The scientist guy in the Hulk 2008 movie who creates the Abomination.
Yeah.
Right? That he's fucking knocked unconscious with his head split open with the Hulk blood dripping into his wound. Like, I just, shit like that, I totally forgot even fucking exist. And it's just crazy that, like, that's what they went on to make this movie about, man. It's just like, I don't know, man. And you had to do a lot of, it's a movie, so suspension of disbelief is absolutely there. But there are times where this movie does things that are just really funny. Like, for example, at the end, like, we have a politician who effectively goes on to admit, like, he's wrong and all these types of things, and he's gonna put himself, like, we've never seen that.
Yeah, no, not a
Why is that
not
going
a chance.
on?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, man. It's just small stuff like that, and you can nitpick the fuck out of anything once you don't like it, of course. But like just small stuff like that, I'm like, this is. I don't know how we greenlit this.
Yeah,
but
it's fucking atrocious, man. Like, and I would have been interested probably to see the first version of this, you know, just because like we're all big, I think, completionists. Like, you know, let the directors cook
the original
like,
thought process.
Yeah, exactly. If there was a united vision, we want to see it, kind of thing. But I just. Like, this just feels like a misfire from top to bottom kind of thing. Like, they didn't have a good idea. They didn't have, like, a good concept. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a bummer. Like, even, like, the fucking, like, whole idea of, like, the president getting attacked in the White House. Like, we saw that in X-Men 2 in fucking, like, 2006. The joke that got the biggest laugh in the theater for my screening was did your speechwriters help you come up with that? Which is a joke from Ocean's 11 in 2001. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man?
MCU used to be funny. They used to have some good one-liners.
Used to be good. Like, and this movie has the skeleton, and this is Waz's point. He brought this up, and he's 100% correct. It has the skeleton of Winter Soldier in terms of the beats that it hits on and everything.
Right.
But it just has none of the tie-in of anything else, where like any of this has any consequence to the rest of the universe, to anything other than the 5 people it appears to be happening to. Like, the guy's the fucking president of the United States, and yet somehow he's having 5 minutes to go. Like, A, no one has clocked that he's taking pills that are poisoning him. B, like, he's just by himself at long swathes of time, and like, just on a phone with a random man talking to him. I don't know, man.
But my favorite bit of the Harrison Ford being president of the United States is when he finally does turn. Well, I guess is it not spoiler? There's the Red Hulk. Yeah, there's the Red Hulk involved. So nonetheless, Harrison Ford does turn into the Red Hulk, like in front of the Secret Service and all types of people. And like he starts kind of like going through the Hulk transformation. I'm like, oh my God, Mr. President, are you okay? Da 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 da. Eventually, he emerges the Red Hulk, and they just like instantly start firing at him.
Yeah.
It is like, I just don't think that would happen, because they'd be like, well, wait a minute, this guy is the fucking president of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, my whole job is to make sure this guy is okay. And you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. Just
there's 2 parts of that too, where it's like, yes, your point. I'm supposed to protect this man. Now he's a Hulk, so I'm going to shoot at him immediately without asking any questions.
It's like there's nobody green lights any commands or anything. It'd be different if like they had somebody fucking calling command of like, yeah, we need all firearms on go, whatever the language is, right? I'm not in the military, I don't have a military base, but like that doesn't happen. They just like holy shit and start firing off on the president.
Well, they do. I actually know what I was thinking about that in the moment. I think they do wait to shoot at him until he like flips a table at the crowd or something like that, and then they start firing. But regardless, that's beside this point. Anyway, but the other half of that is like, all right, well, you're gonna you everyone in this universe knows what the Hulk looks like, and you know he's probably not gonna. I mean, he's not gonna
Can't
go down to
shoot him.
bullets. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do, like whatever. But it's just like those two things together. I'm just like, what are we doing? Like this is.
Yeah,
We're coming up on 20 years of the MCU. These are rules well established.
it's
Come on,
100%
exactly.
that. Like, yeah, you guys have lived through the blip at this point. You all know,
Right.
like, your Secret Service agents. Even if you should have you've had superhuman training. You would think at this point, right? Or like there was the other bit like early on where like Ross, the whole plot point with the Tim Blake Nelson. Where he's like, I've had him in here and he's been making us weapons. What fucking weapons? You haven't told us shit about this guy. Like, there's been no lead up that we thought about. That at no point has there been any indication that this guy is out there.
Right.
Like there's the one line in the movie where he's like, oh yeah, well he planned my presidency. And then earlier on, he says, like, it was either lose the mustache or lose the presidency. So it's kind of like, okay, so in his probability mindset thing, he was like, you either lose the mustache or that, and that's going to be the butterfly effect kind of thing. That's mildly clever, but even that is a stretch, I feel like. Yeah, it's just so bad. It's such a bad movie. I hate it. Don't see this movie. Don't give them your money.
Yeah,
like
I don't want to support this type of filmmaking.
No,
because also like
buy a ticket for something else and sneak into this if you want to see it.
For real, actually for real, that's very smart because the theater will be empty. But I'm so sick of the green screen too, and whatever that stage is called that they film all these shows on, because this shows up in this movie repeatedly, and I'm so sick of it. I'm sorry. Like you're Marvel. I don't even know what the budget of this movie is. What does anyone know?
200 million.
I don't know. I'm guessing mid twos.
Oh my god.
Mid threes.
Robinson and Gonzalez have been told that overruns and reshoots drove the Brave New World budget to $380 million.
Oh my gosh, high threes.
And this report says with marketing costs added in, it's basically impossible. It'll basically be impossible for the film to turn in a profit.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Your
now reshoots
comment,
and all that stuff, I get it.
Your green screen comment, Adam, really quick to interrupt you. Sorry about that, but I just sent a photo into the group chat. That's like the epitome of the Marvel green screen comment.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah,
for
nonetheless,
context for audio listeners, it's a picture of a green screen soundstage, and it says Marvel fans be like, "Hey, bro, this shot is insane," which is so true.
But yeah, so budget 380 million, right?
Yeah.
But
it's like for that much money, I can't. You can't be on a green screen. I get it,
That's
reshoots, and that's probably where a lot of that green screen was used
absurd.
and that soundstage was used. But like, still, dude, like that's too much money to be dumping into a project like this.
Yeah.
To have it turn out like this. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Like like there's got to be money laundering involved or something. Like make it make sense. Dune 2 had half that, if not less. And not, that's actually not like a Dune 2 gloating reference. That's just like genuinely like Dune 2 for what it is. The budget here for Dune 2, let's find this out. 190. Legit, exactly half the budget it's saying here. What are we doing? Like where's that money going? I can't like make it make sense. That's just a small part of it. Please don't give this film this money this film money. I don't want this to encourage Disney anymore. Like this this is important.
And to make matters worse, it seems like some of the green screen locations, like it's like nowhere you would even need a green screen.
Sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like do people like sitting somewhere and it's like I don't think they're actually sitting there by any means.
No.
They're not.
And it's just like sitting outside. or
Yes.
something. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's I don't know.
There's
dude.
that
I just
conversation where
don't know how
the
people
the
fucking
dude
like
with
these movies.
the brain turns himself in, and it's just like looks like it's on a green screen for seemingly no
so-
reason. They are outside in an undisclosed location. I don't even know where that is, by the way. No wide shot to introduce that scene. No nothing. Just he's sitting on a bench somewhere in Washington D.C. I don't know. And then that guy just walks right up. How does he? I like whatever. But
one of,
yeah.
my-
What is the purpose of that? I don't get it.
one of my friends said, "I can't believe they gave Tim Blake Nelson a Fetty Wap eye."
That's actually pretty funny. But yeah, fellas, I mean this thing is
Yeah, go watch
We-
Anthony
we-
Mackie in Pain and Gain. If you want to see Tim Blake Nelson in a good comic book thing, go watch him in the Watchmen TV series from a few years ago on HBO Max. If you
yeah.
want to see Harrison Ford be a good president, watch Air Force One.
That's a
Don't
great
watch
point.
this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep.
that's all I got for you.
Also, really quick, Giancarlo Esposito. Why is he here?
I was like, yeah, we didn't even
Yeah,
get to
sorry.
him.
Go watch him in Breaking Bad or any of the other things where he plays the same fucking
Literally
character
any-
at this point.
pretty
He's
much,
played the
yeah.
same
Maxine.
character
He-
for 10 years.
Yeah,
Vaccine.
it's unfortunate. What was the movie he
Mandalorian.
was on? That he was on
Maze Runner.
the entry list. He was like an anti-hero kind of guy, and he wasn't the
Maxine.
villain character we're used to seeing. Was that
Maxine.
Maxine? Okay,
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go.
But yeah, no need to watch this. There's the list of solid superhero films. There, it's a plethora, right? That you can pull from. This thing has got to be is significantly closer to the bottom than it is to the top. For whatever reasons, to the Harrison Ford reasons, other films you can watch him in, Anthony Mackie, other films you can watch him in, Giancarlo Esposito, other films you can watch him in, other films that revolve somewhat of the narrative around like black superheroes and being patriotic and things of that nature. There's other films you can pull from that. Other fucking films that have a Hulk in it.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? There's just, you can go down
If you
whatever
want a
list you
cool
want to go down.
wingsuit, go watch Rain of Fire again.
Yeah. There's so many other things you can get to before you're ultimately like, this is the best movie I can get for XYZ subtopic. Right.
And that's
So yeah,
crazy
man.
too, because like in theaters too, there are like it's been a dry 2 months in the new year, but there are still things I would go see before I go see this movie in theaters.
Yeah, dude. I'm never watching this movie again.
I hope I don't.
Bottom line.
The villain
Pray
is
I
the
don't.
same as Incredibles 2.
Yes. Anyway, here's Tyler's spoilers and overall thoughts. We'll do this and then we'll get out of here. Had some fun. The one-liners actually hit for the most part. They do introduce or give you more backstory to new and old characters, so that's a plus. And I don't remember any huge pin drops ruining a scene. I don't know if he means needle drops.
I think that's probably
Like
what he means, right?
I think that's probably what he means. There was more bad than good in the film, though. Tons of plot holes. The timelines don't really match up with the tech that is available or should be. And then, they should have some kind of contingency for Hulks by now, which I already said. I did not read this beforehand. I did not steal Tyler's take, by the way. We're just agreeing. But no, we still pull out our 9mm handguns and see if that will work. The editing was off a bit and transitions just kind of sucked. Agreed on most accounts there. Other than like the one-liners, some didn't always hit for me. But agreed on the 9mm thing. And that was something I was going to mention in terms of like the technology and us being available, like up to date with like the characters in the universe and like where they should be at in terms of like super people and what you want to say versus like where it seems like they're at in this movie. I love how Invincible treats that situation and makes it part of the plot line, and the character Cecil, that's his entire job and his entire character is, hey, these are superhumans that we have no chance of dealing with. How do we deal with them? And like making that part of the show, making that part of the plot. is awesome. It's like one of the most interesting parts of that show. I've not started season 3 yet, but I've heard that kind of ramps up a little bit. But his whole job is like, hey, Superman. There's an entire planets of Superman, and they want to come take over Earth. What the hell are we gonna do about that? There's doesn't seem to be much of that in the MCU, and really, kind of outside of like the Avengers, that's been their only contingency plan. I would kind of like to see them kind of start trying to ramp some things up more in the universe, but I don't know. Maybe that's asking for too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's almost a thing of like, because you went multiversal now, right? There's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's almost like you pulled that one too soon. I don't know. Like, you could have gone
Maybe
before you went like multiversal Kang, right? You could have gone like, I don't know, like that's where it should have been, like an Ultron or something like that, right? Something else that's like on the world, but is like a problem for the Avengers or something like that. Or fuck it, the X-Men show up, and now you've got to deal with a bunch of. Now there's half of humanity is mutants, and now half of humanity has some sort of superpower or something like that. Just something else before it was like, oh, well, we're going to be jumping dimensions and stuff, because now I just don't give a fuck, and it's been 5 years between, or 16 years between Hulk things, and like, yeah, it would be cool still if I believed that it was going to tie into anything else at all that had to do with this, but I only believe it is about kicking the can down the road to get me to come to the next one. So, yeah.
absolutely.
Just don't.
And also
care.
with the multiverse, you run out of consequence essentially. Like nothing
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
This
that's
universe
the best way to word it. Yeah.
matters because they can always be undone because we go to a different universe,
Right.
or something happens.
You
like,
are just inevitably building to the next reset.
right.
Because
And now
it's all already spun out.
exactly. And the only threat now in the MCU that is truly meaningful is the collapse of the multiverse,
Right.
which has now been a plot line and threat in 3 or 4 movies already, and God knows, I don't know. I didn't even watch Loki season 2. I don't know if that's probably part of it too. But so that is now the only threat, is the threat of the timeline, and then potentially Kang was obviously what they were building to. Who knows where that storyline's at? Now we've got Doctor Doom coming at some point in the near future. I don't know. Like they're just giving me nothing to care about other than like, hey, remember Falcon? He's now Captain America, and look, cameo by Bucky. He's somehow a congressman.
Yeah.
When did that happen? I don't remember that happening.
That guy that's 110 and was a Russian assassin for 60 years.
Yeah.
Running for Congress.
Probably video of him killing people.
Yeah.
Available.
Several. Like, it's implied. I'm pretty sure he kills JFK. Like,
it is implied. It is at some point.
I feel like that should disqualify you from holding in a public office.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Which that Bucky comment you're making always brings me back to, I think, is it Civil War where Tony Stark or Iron Man or RDJ eventually finds out that he did kill his parents.
My mom.
Yeah, I do love that bit. That's one of the funniest bits, because like if you break it down, the perspective of Steve Rogers and Chris Evans is like, well, yeah, but like he was brainwashed. And then Tony Stark's like, dude, like I don't give a fuck. He killed my parents. So yeah, it's actually, that's hilarious.
God, dude, bring me back to Civil War, man.
Yeah, for sure. Just smaller continuity things to get over, right? We're talking about the nuances of brainwashed. Where now it's like, I just don't think anything that has consequences. So
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, man. Shut up.
I don't know. I don't know how to fix the MCU at this point. I guess more continuity. Decide what cast of characters you want us to care about, and
yeah, I mean, what
build movies and plot lines and everything around them.
It's
Shang-Chi
has been on ice seen him since that movie. 4 years now at this point. Yeah,
it was one of the better Marvel joints post.
Yeah, it was good.
Snap.
It's good. That's a good that's a good MCU movie. But his characters are relevant. We haven't seen any of the Eternals or any the post credit scene that teased
No, we
multiple
got
people after.
the.
I guess we got Adam
Eternals.
Warlock in Guardians 3, didn't we?
But we got Eternals guy in this one. He's the big.
The
Oh,
Dude
the
coming out of the
Celestial.
earth, yeah.
Funny you mentioned that, Nathaniel. That happened in Eternals, which came out 4 years ago. I don't know how many Marvel movies there have been since then. At least like 4 or 5. And this is the first time it's being brought up in any of those movies that there is a giant celestial being
coming out
in
of
the
Earth.
ocean.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're hearing about it. Oh my god!
Yeah, the Indian
Like,
Ocean
everyone, like-
that for some reason America feels drawn to claiming. Like,
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that is very American. That actually is something this movie gets
But
right, is their imperialism.
why?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all around, man. This is I can't, man. I don't know. And I guess to Nathaniel's question of how do we revive MCU, right? Or how do we go about change the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I think I would go on to argue that, man, like sometimes, man, you gotta just hang the jersey up in the rack.
I agree.
They did excellent,
I agree.
right? For when's Endgame? Endgame is what, 2019? So they did excellent for 11 years, man. And sometimes this is the epitome of you did what you're supposed to do. Excellent for 11 years. You dominated, right? Cinema, tons of profits, right? Making a huge universe. And like, it is what it is, man. That's cool. Hang it up and go in the rafters of one of the all-time great cinema universes, right? But instead, it's stupid. It's can we keep making these movies just for a profit? Like these movies, like they're objectively they're not even good anymore. It's honestly,
No, they're not.
It's sad.
And I think there's real superhero fatigue. Because I mean, MCU started in 2008, dude. We're almost coming up on 20
bro.
years of that.
Why? Like, what's the point of that? Besides, obviously, I
don't know.
logically, I understand the point is capitalism, right? And that it's all money driven.
That's the point of everything. But
yeah, but still, it's like, dude, like it was awesome. Just let it rock out for the 10 years that they did it, and fuck, man, like you did what you were supposed to do. You'll go down in movie cinema history, in the Hall of Fame per se. But instead, we're gonna get this for probably another 10 years. And it's going to be a 30-something year Marvel Cinematic Universe where they just keep making movies that are correlating to each other very loosely.
Yeah, I like long term. I don't know what the MCU looks like. I think at some point they've got to say we're either stopping, we're pausing, we're hitting some sort of reset button. I don't know. I don't know how these movies go away. Like superhero movies are going to stick around. Like that's just a genre that I mean, it's been here long before the MCU, really.
Yeah.
And
of course
I
they
don't
will.
see that going away. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as we know it,
that has to die.
needs to die, and we need to figure out what's next for Marvel and what we want these characters in this universe to look like, and all that kind of thing. I'm interested to see what James Gunn can do with DC, because I think there's a lot of fatigue built up with superheroes, and I don't know if he'll be able to do enough to kind of refresh people's enthusiasm for it. But who knows? I mean, if he's able to catch some magic in the bottle that like the MCU had for that entire Infinity Saga run, like if you can do that on the DC side of things, like that's gonna be exciting. But I'll be interested to see how that all plays out. But in terms of MCU stuff, like man, like something might just have to give here. I don't know. I don't think Disney's making much money on this stuff anymore. So
I was going to say, did we think this is actually going to make profit?
No. That when I looked up its budget, it said after marketing, like there's little to no chance that this makes profit because it's $380 million of production alone. And then what is the rule of thumb on that, Nathaniel? Is it half of that? Add half of that to the budget, and that's marketing. Something like that.
Typically, it's double it. But
it's double it. Okay.
I don't know if you can do that when they've stretched it that much. I think half is probably a good.
Yeah. But either way,
well, hopefully that's the nail in the
money.
coffin here, for lack of a better term. But yeah, they gotta.
We'll see.
We gotta.
I mean,
stop,
Deadpool, I'm pretty sure did really well. So it's like, I don't know.
I guess, but like, I don't even care to rewatch that movie. To be honest, Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, it's good, but like. Yeah.
And how many times are we going to be able to just call back on the original cast and that be exciting? Is Deadpool had Chris
Yeah.
Evans, and the only thing I'm excited for Marvel wise is seeing RDJ back, which feels like
Honestly,
a
dude,
cheat.
I don't even care for that. I think I'm totally crapped out, to be honest with you, man.
I don't
Honestly, we'll
care, but
see
I
if
know I'm
not.
gonna see it, and that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, that is a shitty feeling for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see it for the pod. I'm sure that will be one of the better films they have post Endgame. You could imagine, or at least you would fucking hope so, right? That they can come with their A game on something like that. But yeah, man, I'm good on that. Just give me Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Just give me that,
Sure.
Yeah, man,
and
I'm
we'll go from there.
excited for that as well.
All
right, let's
right.
get out of. Let's stop
Man,
talking about
man.
this movie. Let's rank it and let's put it behind us forever. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're gonna go ahead
Oh yeah.
and throw Captain America: Brave New World up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking that episode description.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
I know where I'm going.
Canada. Oh my god. That was fast. All right, Blake, let her rip.
218.
218.
Just above Justice League.
Wow.
So I will go above Justice League. I will go above Black
Well, no, that would
Adam.
be. Yeah, okay. So above.
Yeah,
Black
so I'll go
Adam,
above
below
Justice League, above Black
Snake
Adam,
Eyes.
but below Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is, yeah. Snake Eyes sucks too, but like at least it's not fucking tied to 27 movies. So that's where I'm going. And I refuse to say that I don't even care for The Purge that much. I refuse to say it's better than The Purge. And you cannot convince me this is better than High Tension.
That's all fine. I don't mind The Purge that much, but okay, 218. That's fair.
Yeah.
I
I'm
know
watching
you-
The
I know
Purge
you-
before I watch this every time. The Purge is at least like fucking 86 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is tough because
And by the way, I did just confirm The Purge is 86 minutes. I pulled that number on my ass, by the way.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that
Wow.
it was. Yeah,
no, I'm impressed.
I had to give myself some credit on that one.
Nathaniel, do you know where you're going yet?
Yeah. Right above Snake Eyes. 217.
Hey, Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes
had,
does suck, though. I agree.
Snake Eyes.
It's not
ass.
great.
I agree.
It's not great,
Snake
But
Eyes.
it's not.
ass.
It's not $400 million.
but it does have that cool scene with the giant snake that I bet you guys
True,
forgot about.
but like I'm sorry, I will not, like, out of respect for Harrison Ford. He's going above Snake Eyes.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm obviously in the same range. Transformers: Rise of the Beast is another one where I'm like, I would actually probably put this above that one. This is all the F list, it's like F tier.
Yeah,
like
this is F tier.
Like it doesn't really
For sure.
matter where it goes here. Like this is like this is the don't touch zone.
Yeah.
So like who cares really? But for the sake of this ranking, I guess I'll put it at 218 as well. This is better than Black Adam, surprisingly. I don't know how that's kind of funny because that movie sucks too. But I don't know. Snake Eyes, I think, had enough. Snake Eyes at least had better action than and fight choreography
Right.
than
I
this
agree
movie.
with that for sure. I agree.
So at least that has that going for it, and has the giant snake scene. And then I think those are the only two things I can tell you about that movie. I don't remember anything else. So yeah, cool.
For context, Ty's spot
that's
is
right.
149.
What?
So he's gonna put it. Yeah, this guy, he may be
What did he
I don't
give
know.
any
I don't know what he's
context to
thinking.
that as well? 149
Uh,
is my spot. I don't want to put it next to the other Marvel movies, but what can you do? That is just the way the list works sometimes. This and Black Widow are super close for me. I do think Shang-Chi is better. I don't know what
Mm.
movie Tyler watched. Clearly, it was
Yeah.
not the same one.
The 149 would actually put it. It would actually put it above No Time to Die, and below Pitch Black. So he is
Wow.
substantially higher
Wow.
than the Three Amigos on pod right now.
That's for more context, that's above Tenet, Top Gun, Insidious, Straight Outta Compton. I mean,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The Rock, Scream
Yeah.
6, which is pretty good actually. Okay, well, anyway, after all of that, our average rating / ranking is
Please.
200.5, meaning we'll put it at 201 below Antlers and above F9.
You said 201 or 205? I'm sorry.
It's 200.5 was our average ranking. So we're putting it
200.5.
at
I
2.
got you. Yeah.
Yes. So putting it at 201 below Antlers, which is actually better than this movie. So that's good. And above F9, which.
Yeah. The toss
on
up between
par.
F9 and this is like whatever. I'm not watching the ninth Fast.
We're still,
movie, and I'm not
we're
watching
kind of
the
still
30th
in the
Marvel movie.
Yeah, we're still in the shit list here. So
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Whatever. Don't watch this movie. I don't know what we got to talk to Tyler, make sure that guy's okay.
Yeah.
149 tied with Black Widow. I mean, I didn't love Black Widow, but that's at least still like a 7 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's still like a fine movie. Like
that's a movie that's a 6 out of 10. This is at best a 4. Like
this is at best. At its best, it's a 4. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank God I don't have to talk about or think about this movie ever again.
Ever again, for sure.
Next week's review is The Monkey, new Osgood Perkins.
I forgot
movie that is coming out. That is coming out this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can all check that out and then join us for our review next week. That is a bit of a horror flick here in February.
Yes, sir.
So
former
huddle on
director
over.
of Long Legs for pod
Yes,
listeners.
yes. I'm excited for it. This is actually one I've been looking forward to for a bit now. So can't wait to see it.
Cool.
What we're watching? Anyone watch anything recently?
I saw A Different Man.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It's really good.
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, it's
I heard good things.
It is good. It's on HBO Max.
Nice.
It's a movie with a lot of ideas, a lot of different directions that it goes. I wish it maybe picked one of those and kind of steered into it a little bit harder. But overall, just a really great movie. Thought it was a good time. Yeah, would recommend checking that one out. What else did I get?
How long is that one? Do you know? Like
2 hours, basically, overall, like with credits, I would say. So 140, 150 maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to see that movie. It didn't get a super wide release, and it had a limited release window. So I'm glad it's on streaming already.
Yeah, it is out there to be checked
that and
out.
Has anyone here seen The Apprentice yet?
I have not seen that one.
I have not.
But
because I've also heard like decent things and good things about Sebastian Stan's performance. And what's the dude from Succession? I always forget his name.
Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy Strong, thank you. But I've heard good things about both of their performances in that movie. And I saw a clip recently of Sebastian Stan. And I was like, this movie actually, I feel like I could get into this movie a little bit. So I might check that out soon.
Other than that, I don't think. I mean, I was sick over the weekend. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, you were saying that. Hopefully you feel a little better, man.
Yeah, it's that stomach flu that's going around getting everyone just right now. But yeah. So I was at home and watching the TV, and so I got to check out the fights that night, and then also, like I said, A Different Man the next morning. What else have I been watching? I'm watching Twin Peaks. I think I told you guys that maybe a little bit ago. There's something else too. I finished Blue Lock season 2, which was amazing. And maybe that was all. Been reading still. There was a you guys, did you ever read the zombie or World War Z or the zombie apocalypse survival guide and that kind of thing?
I did read almost half of it around the time the movie came out. I was like 14. I just don't remember much of it.
See, this is a thing I think I've discovered about myself is I really like books that are fiction but act like they're nonfiction. Almost like the mockumentary kind of like style where they talk about something like it actually happened, but it didn't. So he did
like that.
He released another one called Devolution, and it's about like this this guy finds the Mount Rainier in Washington has erupted, and then like 6 months later this guy finds the journal of a lady that was living at this like almost high-tech like smart community that was set up by like this like tech bro up there, and it was like only like 5 or 6 houses, and they were kind of supposed to be like off the grid kind of thing, but they come to find out that like after the mountain erupted, it drove like a family tribe of Sasquatch down to them, and it like the Sasquatch just like killed everyone. And so like that's
awesome.
the whole
wow,
thing. Yeah,
cool.
it's like a survival like thing, but it's like it's that same World War Z like style where he's done all this research and also like has like these characters with these really extended backstories and stuff and like how they would all kind of thing. So it kind of reminded me of almost of like Glass Onion, where it's like that thing of like, oh yeah, tech bros are kind of idiots, but it's also this one like a thing that you don't see a lot of, which is like Bigfoot horror stories, but two, also this just it's kind of like found footage style book almost.
That is cool. I like that. I did like the style of World War Z, being kind of like the different accounts from various people and everything kind of compiled together. Very different from the movie. If anyone's seen the movie, it's definitely not the same thing at all.
I think the movie's good, actually.
The movie is good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'm a firm believer
it is a good movie.
in World War Z.
It is a good movie. As far as like zombie apocalypse movies goes, not bad, but just very, very different from the book.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I've been kind of watching, getting into. Blake, you been seeing anything?
I don't think I've caught any new movies. It's funny enough because you brought up books. I did go. Well, I shouldn't say it wasn't. I did go do it. Came down to conversations. Me and my partner Haley. So nonetheless, though, I did go ahead and get a library card.
Oh,
so I did that 2 days ago.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
which library?
The Des Plaines Library.
Des Plaines.
Right up the street here. So I walked over there, got that situated. So yeah. So then we're gonna see if we can try to. She's a big booker, right? Book reader.
Well,
so
hey man.
Yeah.
Good thing about
libraries.
libraries.
Try to read the same book at one time. So I was like, sure, you pick the book. I'm not versed enough. Whatever you find, if you think I'll like it, let me know. We'll go do it.
A lot of times, those libraries, you can get a lot of cool movies there too.
I was gonna say movies, and it'll also unlock a Canopy subscription most of the time. They'll do you can do Canopy, which is
streaming. But
yeah, it's another streaming service, and they have a lot of like really miscellaneous like older movies or a lot of like documentaries too.
Or like
for my documentary class that I took in college, I had to have a Canopy and a subscription to watch a lot of those docs.
Crazy foreign horror movies. A lot of times you can find at the library and shit as well too.
It's like Tubi, but for like nerds. nerds too.
For sure.
I don't know how to describe it, but it is another sleeper streaming service that's like, oh, this is just kind of like you, and it's free, and I don't think it has ads. But yeah, it's kind of like oh shit, this is here, and it's got a decent selection.
Cool. So yeah, man, I'll look into that. But yeah, that happened the other day. So yeah, whatever. She's got to pick the first book, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, that was cool. Adam?
Have not been watching much. Been busy, but traveled this past weekend to visit my girlfriend in Missouri for Valentine's Day and our anniversary, so was not really privy to watching much. Yeah, watching Missouri basketball, watching sports. Baseball season's right around the corner. That's exciting. March Madness right around the corner. That's also exciting. Reading Dune Book 4. God Emperor of Dune. That's been good. Very it's a different style of writing than the first kind of original trilogy or first 3 books in the series. So it's been a fun adjustment kind of. It's nice that it's not like stayed super stale or anything like that, or it's like kind of just the same story rehashed with different characters or same style of writing. Like, yeah, it's nice and refreshing. So been enjoying that. Yeah, I don't know, just been pretty busy overall, but things are hopefully kind of calming down for me here in these next few weeks. So
Cool.
cool. All right, I think that'll do it here for our episode. Let's get on out of here. Of course, listeners, please share the podcast, share it with a friend, a family member. I would usually give a line here of something relating to the movie, but like I genuinely don't even want to think about it. So yeah, just recommend this podcast to a friend or a family member. Or you know what? Here you go. A fellow MCU hater.
There it is.
Most people. Yeah, there you go. And while you're doing that, follow the podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, Instagram Back Row Banter Pod, and on YouTube we are just Back Row Banter. Please go subscribe to us there, even if that is not your primary place of listening. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, the BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging some things, rating out of 5 stars. The film we just did, I believe I gave that joint 2 stars, so not the greatest. PSN, Mr. Water Coolers, Xbox, Mr. Water Coolers. Yeah, that's it. Nathaniel?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd status and at NSGingrich. You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram, NathanielG92 Adam.
You can find me on Twitter at H24 and on Letterboxd at H. It's AYYSH. I think that'll do it here for episode. We're at 225 here, gentlemen. Full, is that a
2 1/4?
2 1/4? Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of episodes, guys. That's a lot.
We'll be at
We should
300 before we know it.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, wow. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're our favorite type of listener. We really do appreciate it. I'm sorry if you weren't planning on watching this movie and then watched it because of this podcast.
Don't.
So don't, if you haven't watched the movie and you're still listening, don't watch it. Just go see the monkey instead. Do yourself a favor.
Do the monkey with me.
All right, that's it. What'd you say?
I said, do the monkey with me.
Oh, you can do that. Anyway, we'll see you next week. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Hot start. That's how we have our lead. But ever since they've scored, it's just been a pretty dead even game, and they just keep. We're playing. They've had 2 or 3 possessions now where we get them down to 3 seconds up in the shot clock, and they somehow end up making a shot in, and it doesn't look like they're about to get it off, and they somehow do, and then.
You don't even go there anymore.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I don't follow a ton of college hoops by any means. I think we've talked about it before, but I did look up and notice. I was just like watching ESPN and scrolled across the bottom the other day that like Alabama and Auburn and it's like Tennessee, Mizzou. I don't know. There's like fucking
There's like
SEC
10
teams.
Yeah, 9
Right?
or 10. No,
Yeah.
well, SEC is the best basketball conference in the country this year. They went an insane. It was like 92-6 in non-conference play or something like that. Like
Yeah.
almost every team had less than 2 losses coming into conference play. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
So
So I
they've
saw
got a
that and I was
lot.
like, wow, that's crazy. Because traditionally
SEC has a
that's not the
lot of
case,
stock.
right? Yeah,
Right.
traditionally you're looking at like
Kentucky
ACC as the
Yeah.
best basketball conference, right?
Right. Big Ten, close
Um,
second usually.
yeah, right. But yeah, so I
SEC
saw that.
not
I was
known
like,
for their
holy
basketball
shit, man.
outside of Kentucky, but I mean SEC's invested a lot in basketball past
Yeah.
5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried to put a lot of money.
Florida's usually okay. They go up
Florida's
and down.
solid.
Sometimes
Alabama's
Florida's usually
program the last 10 years or so has slowly
Which is
been
what
on
I've
a steady
realized.
rise. And same thing
Yeah.
with Auburn. They had a Final Four appearance a couple years
good.
ago.
Yeah, I've realized
Did they
that as
win?
well
They didn't
too.
win it. Were they in the national championship game? I don't think they won a national championship.
Yeah, I don't think Bama or Auburn has, but to your point, I think the past like 6, 7, 8 years, they have both been like elite
Yes.
Yeah,
football
didn't it used to be
elite
like
basketball programs?
Didn't
pardon
it used to be like Kansas and like Louisville and like all those
Yeah.
kind of
So
schools
you,
that were
I think
monsters?
Kansas
is
won the
still
last
good
2
at-
years. Kansas is still a well-respected
Kansas is still
program. They
elite,
won
for
3
sure.
years ago.
Yeah,
They're
Are
which
we
one's the
recording, by the way?
Jayhawks? Yeah, we are.
that's
Okay.
Kansas.
When did that
Okay.
start, Nathaniel? What time ago?
When you were talking about the score of
Can-
the game,
can you
2
give
minutes
me-
10 seconds.
2 minutes and 10 seconds. Perfect. I just need to know.
Yeah, so
Since I have on the
the Jayhawks are KU,
Bitter
right?
Missouri rivals.
Louisville.
Oh, see,
is
that's
the
where
Cardinals.
my family is. They're Kansas.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
lame.
So
I-
they,
you-
I'm
you know
more
what? I should've
intrigued
known
you
that.
actually
seem
said
like you would
Louisville
be
the
related to
correct way.
Kansas people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, most people don't know how to say Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah, so I've learned that from working. Right, there was
Sure.
at my last gig there was a plant down there, and speaking to some local people there, right, I was like, how do you
Oh, so-
actually pronounce this?
You don't mean a guy that was like a plant on your team. You mean like
Oh no. This is now no. But yeah, Louisville,
That's funny.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, okay.
What I didn't realize is I'm looking at national championships. Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Bulls,
Yeah,
won
man, he
back to
was the
back in
Florida coach.
06, 07.
Yeah,
I didn't know
brother,
that.
yeah.
I
I
was
know
too
you
young
were.
at that time.
I know you were 5 years old at the time. but
Yeah,
yes, that
yeah.
is. And then he
Okay.
jumped to the NBA with the Thunder. I think that was his first jump.
Yeah,
And
that sounds
then
right.
he went to the Bulls, and they massacred. They massacred us.
Okay, but so talk to me here, fellas. Out of all
Mhm.
these basketball teams,
Yeah.
there's probably what 20 NBAers for next year, right? Like that can go on. Like
In terms of, I mean, so the NBA draft
Yeah,
is
so,
2
like,
rounds.
I'm
at
realizing-
50 something picks.
I'm realizing I have a real bad concept of, I guess, like how many players are in the NBA at any given time and kind of what the turnover is like.
Yeah,
Because I
right,
know
yeah.
obviously
So
it's
it's about-
super high in football. Like
Yeah,
in
for sure.
In
There's-
terms of player count in the NBA as a league in total, I think it hovers around 450. Does that sound right to you, Blake?
That does. I want to say it's about 13 to 15, 16 guys a roster.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the draft is 2 rounds. So I want to say there's, I think it's
60 picks.
something like
30
that.
each
Yeah.
round.
So,
Okay.
and then you obviously got to factor in everyone who's picked doesn't make a roster, right? There's a
Right.
G League. So I think you ballparking about 20 something players who will be like active rookies on a roster next year is probably about accurate, right?
Yeah.
Even if you were to go a
Okay.
little higher, maybe
Right.
30 something players at 50%.
Really, in
That
the
means there's
NBA,
so many players that just get fucked out of
See,
college.
the turnover
So I guess
is
this
nuts.
was my other question as well too, because I was thinking like, maybe there's what 5 spots for like international guys.
Well, that's what I was about
Ooh.
to say. Is when it
Yeah,
comes to the draft too, you got college players, obviously. Then you have your international players. You have your high schoolers as well. So like all of that
I
combined.
thought you had to play one.
You do,
Not
right?
anymore.
So to
Well,
Adam's
sorry.
point,
Yes. You don't have to, but you
you don't have to play 1 year in college. You can play
in the.
and
G League.
I think you can play in the G
Oh,
League. Yeah,
got
so
it.
you can come out of high
Yeah.
school and play in the G League for 1 year.
So it's like baseball.
Yeah.
But to your point, you have to be 1 year
Kinda, yeah.
removed from like prep sports,
Okay.
in essence.
So typically, players will either do if you're in high school an NBA top prospect, you'll either go 1 year of college and get drafted, or you'll do 1 year of G League and then get
Yeah.
drafted.
Got it.
So like the Bulls,
So
for
that's-
example, like their rookie Matas Buzelis played 1 year in the G League. Someone I went to high school with, Max Christie, he was just in that Luka Doncic trade.
You're asking
but
me?
Max Christie,
Yeah,
I was just
I'm
general.
I'm familiar. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
but
familiar with the name.
I went to high school with him. I'm not going to say like I was friends with him or anything like that, but he was
Yeah.
2 grades below me, and he went to high school at Meadows at the same time as me. And
Okay.
his little brother too, who I didn't go to high school with, he was a couple years even behind him. So,
Oh yeah, I dunked
but
on
they
both of them.
both, right?
When they were
No, but
3.
like Max Christie at my high school, he did like 1 year at Michigan State, then went declared for the draft.
Okay, I
His
was
brother
gonna
did the
say,
same
where did he
thing
go
at
to college?
Minnesota. Yeah, he went to Michigan State for a year. And it was surprising to me that he actually decided to go declare for the draft because he was really only like a 32% 3-point shooter or something like that. It wasn't an exceptional 3-point shooter, and he didn't impress with his other skills right off the bat in college.
Yeah,
but he still got drafted, and he's playing really well on Dallas.
he is. He's
right
a
now.
solid role player, man.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. His progression the last couple of years, I've been watching him, just kind of tuning in here and there. It's been good.
Yeah. Now, for Nathaniel's point on that as well, you were listing out some prominent college basketball schools, and I'm not the most versed in college basketball by any means, but Michigan State would also be another school that's
Sure.
traditionally
That's up
pretty
there.
darn good, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
I
Michigan.
think they've had the same coach for I don't even know how long time. Is Tom
Tom
Izzo
Izzo?
still the coach there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so
He
been
just
there.
announced his retirement. I don't know if it's
years or something like that.
Yeah, he just set the record for most Big Ten conference wins.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Like a week or 2 ago, and
Yeah.
he apparently in that speech announced his retirement because at the end of the game he like addressed the crowd or whatever in some big
Yeah.
speech, and I think I saw somewhere he announced his retirement. I don't know if that was for the end of this season or maybe like the end of next
Sure.
season or something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, he's a very well known and well respected coach.
Yeah.
Has been at Michigan State almost his entire career, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's all I know him as.
yeah.
I'm sure he was probably somewhere else at one point in time, but
Yeah,
at
but
least
he's been
since
there
like
as
2000,
long as
he's
I can
gotta be
remember.
Tommy, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting, man. College ball, it's changed a lot since I've really followed it. I haven't followed it a ton the past maybe like 8 years, 9 years, right? But certainly interesting to see like fucking Alabama and Auburn ranked like in the top 5.
Yeah,
right.
no, it's
I
odd.
was like, what
It's-
the fuck?
Yeah, you're not expecting it.
No.
But quietly, the SEC has done a lot in terms of their basketball program and recruiting and putting money into. And now that NIL is here,
Oh
you
yeah,
got a
for
lot
sure.
of money going into
That's exactly what it is.
into-
those
into
schools,
basketball
they got
too.
the athletic.
Oh damn. Oh, I can't hear either of them.
So the ACC's got like Duke and a couple and Louisville
Louisville.
are good programs. But
Yeah,
then by and
yeah.
large, the SEC is
For
considered
sure,
like
you got your LSU,
almost like
you
the
got
fourth
you got your Arkansas
minor league.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Florida is.
Missouri baseball, not a good program, but
Yeah,
we've had some.
they
players
were up
come
north
through,
for too long, man. Funny enough about college baseball, I think I always bring this up. Is I somehow in the spring or like
yeah,
that
you end
early
up
summer
watching
period,
a lot of college baseball.
Yeah, I end up
right?
watching a lot of college baseball, like when they're in the playoffs and in the tournament and whatnot. And one thing I have quietly noticed, probably the consistently best Northern baseball team I've seen, Oregon State baseball is usually
Yeah, they're pretty good. Pac-10,
pretty good.
Pac-10.
Yeah,
Pac-12.
and like you don't see that a lot because every team you're watching, you're either watching like the major schools from down south or even something smaller, like I don't know, like an Austin P out of Tennessee, something like that,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But then you fuck around and see Oregon State and like the Elite Eight, and you're like, oh wow, that's really
Yeah,
weird.
no, they're
But-
typically pretty good.
Yeah,
It's a weird thing with baseball. I mean, it'll always be best where it's hottest because you can just play year round.
of course,
obviously.
play all all
Yeah.
year.
But Oregon's okay as well
Oregon
too.
State Beavers,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're a good track school. Oregon,
yeah. I'd
Or
heard
is
that.
is that
as well, too.
OU or UO, University of
know.
Oregon? I think it's.
I remember when
I don't know.
I think it's just the Big O, isn't it? I don't know if I've
Yeah,
ever
it is just I know their
heard-
actual
I think
block.
yeah.
Their block lettering is just.
Yeah, I don't know
O.
if they really
I
go
remember-
as if it's University of Oregon.
Big thing in high school
Oregon
was, like,
University, I don't know.
Oregon got like new jerseys every game because they're sponsored by Nike or whatever, or the dude
Oh,
that made Nike went
yeah,
there
brother,
kind
that,
of thing.
that still exists.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
And I don't know
Yeah, the
how many
the
sports,
NBA
but in football, absolutely. In
Yeah.
basketball, probably as well.
NBA needs to cool it on their City Connect jerseys every year. All right, they're getting bad. Like they're getting bad.
I got some of the Suns City Connect socks.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Which
from my
year? This
brother
past year?
for my brother for Christmas.
Do you know which edition? Like
They're purple and they've got spray on them.
okay,
They're
that was
from
maybe
Stance.
a year or two ago.
What are the City Connect Suns joints? Are those ones that say like Valley?
The Valley,
Something?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
they change them
yeah.
every year, man.
Yeah.
All like the new City Connects every year for the NBA. That's just not. It's
And
not
then
sustainable.
the Diamondbacks is El Serpientes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I do
always
like
cool.
see I like how the MLB has done
always
it where it's like, all right, you'll get a new kind of City Connect alternate every 3 to 5 years. Like
Yeah.
that's perfect. Like you keeps uniforms fresh, keeps new merch flowing through, but it's not incredibly like super recycled designs or like stale designs just because you've already done all the cool things you can. Like the first few years of NBA City Connects were fantastic. The first 3 to 5 years, like they had some really cool stuff going on. The Bulls had some great uniforms. I really liked. They had the one with the Chicago flag on the front that was all black, and then it had the Chicago flag on the front. They had this jersey got a lot of hate, but I really liked it. It was like the Art Deco one of like the gray with like the Chicago with the shadowed font on it. Do you know what I'm talking about, Blake?
Yeah.
Loved those jerseys. They got a lot of hate at the time. I think people have, as far as the Bulls City Connects go, look on them more. People look back on them more fondly. But I loved those.
Yeah.
But now it's just like last year's Chicago uniforms were gross. This year they're not like
I couldn't even tell you
offensive.
what they look like last year.
They were bad, dude. They were black with like the Chicago straight down the side and like the number in the middle of the chest on the right. It was just landed gross, and you did not like it at all.
Yeah.
This year's aren't like offensive or bad or anything like that. They're just like I don't see the appeal or the attachment to the city. So like I don't know, but yeah, it's just a way for them to make money. I get it, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous, and they should just slow down a little bit.
Now I know you're a Cubs guy, but from a non-baseball person, I do think the Sox City Connect jerseys are fucking
They are
dope.
sick.
They have one of the best
are
ones in my
awesome.
opinion.
They do.
Just
They
the
have a
South
top
side
3
written on it.
Absolutely,
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Not a White Sox fan, but when I saw that uniform I was like, I almost want to buy this.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that'll be a walking classic in like 15 to 20 years from now.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. That jersey is sick. Too bad the White Sox are terrible.
Yeah, too bad
team and organization. So it has kind of gone to waste. But those City Connects are awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out the original Arizona Coyotes jerseys. It was one of the sick ones.
Was that the Coyotes? Was that a hockey team?
They are a hockey team, yeah.
Oh,
are they still the hockey
shown
team?
me this.
They are, yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I don't know why I thought they got rid of that
terrible.
team, but maybe they moved the arena they were playing in.
Yeah,
At one point, they started playing where the Sun Devils were playing ice hockey.
They have like pound for pound, like the worst owner.
Sure.
In sports, like he's just fucking awful. Like
for sure.
it's short of anyone owning like an actual racist team or something like that. Like the Washington Commanders
like
used to be,
like the Bills.
Yeah, or something where like that dude just refused to change the name for a long time. That dude, the owner of the Coyotes is the worst. But those jerseys are sick as well too.
Is that the one that I'm gonna describe this so poorly because I'm not a hockey guy and it's off the top of my head. It has like that kind of like stitched on coyote head on like a hockey player with the club.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
but like the colors are really cool too. Like
those are dope for sure.
Yeah, like he's wearing a little hockey jersey that's got a moon on it for some reason. I don't know why. It's just cool.
Yeah.